So since I'm going from an already existing power supply that was 750 watts with EVGA, I tested the cables. And they're actually the same size for the modular, so I'm going to keep some of the existing cables I have in here. And I'm just going to try to reroute them a little bit. So that's my next step. So I'm going to put the base in there, and I'm going to reroute some of the cables around the back end of the tower case like I should have done in the first place, because I made that mistake and it just kind of made everything a mess. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you guys. Thanks. So here's my first complaint, right? Trying to get these a little more organized, and the CPU1 cable, the cable that plugs into, basically it's like your power supply for your CPU, that pretty much will not reach around the back. The cable's not long enough. I probably could have threaded through the back port right there, but it just won't work. So the cable isn't long enough to do that. The motherboard cable does reach around the back though. I'll show you. You can get around the back with the motherboard cable and through here, but for CPU1 there wasn't the ability to do that, so that was kind of disappointing. I probably could have snuck it through here if the cable was long enough and went up around top. So just showing everybody kind of my first obstacle. So I did have to run it on the front end of the case. I kind of ran it down past the RAM right here down to the actual CPU. So still work in progress. I'm still going to try to organize this a little bit more, but as you can see, that was my first issue that I had with this cable, was that it's not long enough to run around the back, and I can't get it to reach around the back and then top to where the actual supply is. So yeah, I actually thought at first I couldn't get it, the CPU1 cable wrapped around the back. I didn't think there was enough room, but I tried again, and after I put it in there, and I was able to get the CPU1 cable wrapped around the back of the actual case and plugged into the power supply that way. Same thing with the motherboard. So far so good. It's going pretty well. I had to take the fans out just because I didn't want to take the CPU out with the fan assembly that I have in there. So just to kind of get my hands in there, I had to take the fans out to kind of reach around things. So I'm going to put them back in after everything's done. So I'm just plugging along here. Okay, this is where we're currently at. Now I've got everything in here but the video card. I put the fans back in. I have my my drives all set up and connected. They're all in there. Everything's hooked into the board except for the USB 3, which I'm going to put in after the card. And this is the back right now. And back is going to be tethered up soon. I'm going to wrap it up soon with the ties to make it a little more controlled, but I'm going to add the video card next. Since I already have the existing red cables from the older power supply that I got right there, I'm going to use the red video cables, VGA cables, to hook up my video card just to give it a little bit different appearance. And the cables are universal. They're exact same fitting, exact same connection, so there's no problem doing that. They're made from the same company, so I can't see there being any issues in that at all. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, so this is going to be a video on how I'm going to do combined. I'm going to do a GTX 980 Ti unboxing, which I already have that video out there and kind of show you. I'm going to go through that real quick, but I'm also going to do a simple how to install a video card, and I'm going to show you guys this card in a system because it's just so big. So this is a very beginner type video, how to install a graphics card in your system, and also an unboxing at the same time. I'm not going to get into huge details with the unboxing, but I'm going to show you how to do that. And I just actually got done with my active cable management video. To install a new power supply. I have the old one as a backup, but I want to get only the best power supply for this baby because it does crank a lot of power. So I went with the gold rated power supply by EVGA, the 850 G2 Supernova, and I installed that, and I kind of did a little brief video on cable management because before my system was a mess and now it's a heck of a lot better. So I'm gonna put this in, and then I'm going to do some more cable management, and everybody will see everything when it's done. Now here's the card. It's a beast of a card. It's huge. It takes up 3 slots, and my best advice to you is have everything taken out of your system before you try to put this in, because it's hard to get in. It really is. It barely fits into the system, so it's very difficult to get this to work right, to get it in there, and that's my advice. Have everything out, or kind of do like a redo your cables, do everything, because you're gonna struggle getting this guy in. And this is a full-size ATX case, so it's by the Antec case, and it's a full-size ATX case, and it is tough to get in the system. So I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna kind of show you guys what it looks like when it's installed. You can see it's a brand new video card, and it's 3 slots wide, but it is the best, probably the second best single card you can get, right under the TI. So I had a 970 rig, and I got sick of SLI, and I went to this just because I was sick of SLI. So and I have my own reasons for that, but I just felt like it was too much tweaking if I wanted to play a game, and the single card performance, from what I've read, has definitely outweighs I think the SLI performance, just because of the less issues. Even if you're losing a couple frames, it's less issues, less nonsense you have to deal with if you want to play a game. So kind of redid my system, sold stuff, and went this direction because, like I said, I got tired of all the tweaks. So I'm going to put this in, and we'll see how it works. With this card, since it's so big, I'm going to show you one of the crucial things, because I made a little bit of a mistake. I mean, I don't think I'll mess anything up, but you have no bearing on where the actual connection is to the PC Express slot. So when you put it in, look at the back plate and use kind of the black plate as your reference, because I don't know if you can see this, but the actual connection for the card, the port for the PCI Express slot, is right off the edge of the back plate, so it lines up with the back plate. So line it up with the back plate when you put it in. Try to with your finger, you're gonna have to kind of like snap in the connector in there. So I'm just letting you know, because that was one of the issues I had, because the card's so big, when you're putting it in, you actually can't see where you're lining up with the actual PCI Express slot. So it makes it a little challenging. So when you do it, look at the back plate and use that as a guide as to where the actual slot is. Kind of a custom solution here. What I did was, if you look at this card, it's huge, and I wanted to kind of like re-support it. So on this edge, there's a steel flap of the back plate that really doesn't do much of anything. It's just a corner flap. There's no electronic components around it. It's just an edge that they beveled. So what I did was use some zip ties. I tightened them so that it's on there pretty good, and essentially just re-supports the card, because it is so heavy. So I think that's pretty much a good custom solution to this thing. And like I said, I mean, you're not putting stress on any components that aren't important or anything like that. This is just this steel flap here for the back plate that I kind of latched onto with zip ties, and put 2 of them on here in 2 different areas to help support the card. Alright, well, here it is, cable management. This is a bit better than what it was. Gonna take a picture of the front. There's a lot less going on in here than there was before. Video card's hooked up, everything's kind of run around the back. Show the side of the back here. Use the I like the bands better from the old power supply that I had. And the bands are there. All the wires running around the back side of the cable of the computer here. Alright, so here it is completed. Now I do have some wires still down there. I tried to kind of rubber band them together a little bit, just because these are wires for my fans that are going to go on the actual side of it, so it's a little sloppy, but I did try to Velcro them and everything together into like an area where I have the peripheral fans that I have running on the side of the computer, all set up at the same area. So I'm running a lot of fans in here for airflow, just to kind of keep the system really cool. I don't have my house air conditioned, so I want to, you know, keep it in good condition here. So I have 2 side fans on the case, and I have a small fan that kind of exports air out of the area in here underneath the video card. As you see, it seems like my zip ties are helping out a little bit. Doesn't takes a lot of stress off the card itself, and it's a lot more organized, I think, than what it was originally. So that's it. It's my system now. It's up and running with some better cable management going on at this point, and gonna put it all back together and see how it works.